Canada from South Africa and feeling overwhelmed. I've gone through the aches and pains of moving countries and have first-hand experience of the difficulties in selecting a suitable neighborhood in the right city, as well as the challenges in finding your dream house in the right school area. My name is Martha Hadding. I'm an ex-South African who moved to Canada in 2017. I live in Burlington, Ontario, a small city in the Greater Toronto area, or better known as the GTA, 50 kilometers from downtown Toronto. Today, I would like to discuss how the Canadian real estate business is different from South Africa. These differences are seldom explained to newcomers to Canada. It's assumed that real estate works the same across the world, right? No, there are big differences, which can make your life as a newcomer much easier if you understand the process clearly. Most real estate agents assume that potential clients understand the process. However, I realize as a realtor how important it is to explain this to newcomers, as I was also unaware of the differences when I first moved here. Our agent did not address this with us, which in hindsight could have made the process so much easier and less stressful. The real estate profession in Canada is strictly regulated. All brokerages and salespersons or agents have to be registered and compliant to the Act, which is very reassuring if you're unfamiliar with the laws and regulations in a new country. So what are these differences? Firstly, the seller and the buyer, or with a lease, the landlord and the tenant, will both have their own agents representing them. So each party to the transaction will have his own agent. Commission on a transaction is then split 50-50 between the two agents. Some instances do exist where the same agent represents both parties, but approval has to be given by both parties in such an event. When an owner wants to sell his house in Canada, he will contact a listing agent who will list his property on the multiple listing service, better known as MLS. This listing will then be available for everyone to see. A buyer will appoint his own agent who will then search for suitable properties on his behalf. The agent will book appointments for showings, and when a suitable property is found, the buyer's agent will draw up the documentation and negotiate with the seller's agent on the buyer's behalf. By having independent agents, both the seller and the buyer's best interests are protected, and confidential information will not be disclosed. Both agents will act honestly, fairly, and with integrity. So how's this process different from South Africa? If a seller wants to sell his house in South Africa, he will contact one or more agents to list his house. If he signs a sole mandate with a specific agent, that agent has the sole right to market and to sell the house for a specific period of time. If multiple agents list the house, they will compete to find a suitable buyer. Also, having one agent representing both the seller and the buyer creates independence issues. Confidential information might be disclosed to the other party, so that's not an ideal relationship to foster integrity. Another difference between Canada and South Africa is how the relationship between the agent and the client is established. In Canada, before an agent acts on behalf of a party to a real estate transaction, an agreement will be signed with a brokerage as either a client or a customer. If you sign a client representation agreement, your agent will represent you as a client, meaning that he acts in a fiduciary role and promotes and protects your best interests, not disclosing any confidential information. But if the agent provides limited services to you, a customer services agreement will be signed, meaning that services provided are limited and that the agent will not promote and protect your best interests. If you're a client, your agent must take reasonable steps to determine and disclose all material facts about a property to you. If you're a customer, however, the agent only has to disclose facts already known to him or her and is not required to take any further steps. So now the question is, how do I choose between becoming a client or a customer? Mostly you would require client services. A customer agreement is not the norm and is applicable to specific situations, which I won't address now. Whether you are a client or a customer, an agent is obligated to treat you with fairness, honesty, and integrity, and to provide you with conscientious and competent service. The client cannot work with any other agent during this period. This means that the agent you have signed with will be the only agent to list your property if you're a seller, or if you're a buyer, this agent will be the only one finding you a suitable property to purchase. So make sure that the agent you choose to represent you is knowledgeable and understands your needs. Because once you sign with that agent, you can only work with him or her for the specified time in the representation agreement. Another difference between the Canadian and South African process relates to the forms and the agreements. Forms in Canada are standardized across the province, meaning that different agents from different brokerages use the same forms. Agreements can be tailored by adding specific clauses, but the same required forms will be used in all real estate transactions. This gives comfort to sellers and buyers, knowing that the agreements are above board and prevents a situation where the fine print of a custom agreement exposes them to unnecessary liability. Also note that most agents in Canada now make use of electronic signatures to sign documents through apps like DocuSign or AuthentiSign. This makes the signing process so much easier, and when a document is signed electronically, there is no need for a witness to sign, as opposed to physical signing where a witness signature is still required. Thanks for watching. I hope that you find this video helpful. If you want to know more about me or my services, please visit my website at movesbymartley.com or contact me directly. Be sure to watch my next video soon.